Hey, welcome back to The Dive. Today's guest is a veteran serial investor who never sees risk as a problem. He'll deep dive into some company updates, a new firm he's involved with, his thoughts on cannabis legalization and policies, electric vehicles, net zero emissions, and the industries he's now interested in. He is the chairman and CEO of Soul Global Investments. Andy DeFrancesco is joining us today. But before we bring Andy on, just a quick reminder to tap that subscribe button for me, please. Hey, Andy, welcome to The Dive.
How are you, Cassandra? Glad to be here.
Yeah, I'm doing great. We're so happy to have you here.
Thanks.
Okay, so let's dive right into it then.
All right.
The company announced the intention to pursue a substantial issuer bid to repurchase up to $30 million of its outstanding common shares. What led you to this decision, and do you see your stock price as undervalued right now?
Yeah, completely undervalued, and we, like I said, we bet on ourselves. And there's a lot of great stocks out there that we could buy, but we know what our NAV is, and it's significantly higher. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we'll be press releasing our numbers, so everyone will see that. But as far as we're concerned, the stock is significantly below net asset value, and we get that most holding companies, investment companies, trade at a discount, but this one's trading below that. And I think part of the reason is a lot of people, just like when we had our big position in Afria, we were a proxy. We were a play where we were a proxy for Afria stock. Similar here on Verano. Verano's come off substantially from its highs, so I think that's having an impact. But with our lawsuit behind us and payment made, I mean, I think it's a great use of capital for us to bring that in and lower the share count for all the long-term shareholders.
Okay, great. So we also saw you tweet about Tyson 2.0. What attracts you to this company?
So I was originally brought in. As you know, we've been in every segment of the cannabis sector, pretty much. We've got investments now, always in MSOs. We went from Canada to the US. We're out of Canada completely. We're in the lab business now. We've made some single state investments. We announced Common Citizen in Michigan. But brands controlling or having direct access to shelf space is always key. And then we're seeing a lot of brands starting to take place as the industry matures. And listen, I mean, he's a legend. Mike's a legend, and he can get you in anywhere. Everybody wants to meet him. I got to know him over the last number of months, and really understand his use of cannabis and psychedelics to that extent, and what it's done for him on a personal level. And so I understand where his vision is, what he wants to build, what he wants to develop. There's also a role for us with things that we're working on there. So we thought that we didn't just want to make an investment in another brand company. We wanted something that we could be strategically involved, not just from a capital standpoint. He loved the fact that we have all these investments and relationships with MSOs and a lot. We announced all the companies that we've got those investments in. So there was a great two-way fit for both of us. And we think we could have a big impact. But then couple that with, Mike's willing to show up. I mean, he's so personable. He's willing to show up at, dispensary openings and things of that nature. And if we deliver as a group, deliver a great product, we've got a leg up for people to pay attention to what's coming out. So that was one of the reasons, or that was the main reason for us getting involved.
Awesome. That's so cool. Okay, so the legalization of cannabis in Canada just had its 3rd anniversary. We know that you early on supported various deals out of Canada. How are you viewing the investing landscape of Canada versus the US today?
So the Canadian fanboys will want to shoot me for saying this, but we're completely out of Canada. We have been for some time. I think that the pendulum has swung. It went too far in one way, and I think now it's the other way. Canada is a tough market. There's 40 million people. It's the same size as California. It's overbuilt. And you see this in a lot of sectors. So I'm not, and the cream rises. And I think, as you can see from share prices of a lot of the companies, we're going to continue to see a number of I think we're going to see a number of more failures in Canada. And we're just going to see a select group continue to grow. And I think those guys just won't be Canadian companies. They'll be international companies like Tilray. And even some of the big guys are faltering, and their foundations from what they originally built are starting to crack. You're seeing cracks in some of them, but there's no question it's a great market, but it's not where we'd want to be. It's oversaturated in a whole bunch of areas. And I mean, the number of dispensaries based on population and things like that, it just doesn't work for us. Whereas we're still not. It's a very developed. It's a lot more developed than people think or may think in the U.S., but it's still not even legal. There's so much more upside. I'd say that we're close. We're probably in the third inning, realistically, and we're going to see some headaches too, right? At the end of the day, once this goes federally legal, you're going to scratch your head and say, the big guys are going to say, do I need a grow facility in all of these states, right? There's efficiencies. You don't see an ice cream company having that's across the U.S. You don't see them having a manufacturing plant in every single state. They'll build strategic locations based on where their distribution is, where their retail stores are. So I think the U.S. is that's the place for people to be. I think Europe and Latin America still have a great opportunities, but there's no better place to be than the U.S. cannabis space right now. And whether it's MSOs or certain single state operators, I think that's the place to be. And for me, we just don't see having any capital out in the Canadian market at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, makes sense. Okay, so you mentioned on Small Cap Steve Live that Sol is venturing into EVs, such as scooters or e-bikes. Are these the type of investments you're looking at for House of Lithium? What opportunities are you seeing in the space?
So we're seeing a lot. I forget the last count, but I think we've done due diligence on about 70 companies over the last 12 months. And so what I wanted to do is we really wanted to sector off our specific investments. So Sol's the parent company, and that's where all our cannabis holdings are. But we wanted to have a separate operating company for our EV and green and clean tech investments. So we created House of Lithium. And yes, what we really said, we're too small to be in cars. Automotive is dominated by the big boys. And that's already it's a rapidly developing market. As we can see, one other company, Tesla's $1 trillion company now. But what we are seeing is we're seeing, I think e-bicycles are selling two bikes out of every 3 bikes that are sold. I think 2 of them are now e-bikes. There's the automotive sector is really training people, and you're seeing the dribble down effect on bicycles and scooters and mopeds, and we call it crossovers. So what we said we're going to do is we're going to focus on everything from land and sea, delivery, recreational, and commuter. It's really the markets that we want to focus on, or sectors within the markets that we want to focus on, and both land and sea. So we are looking at boats and jet skis and things like that. But we are motorcycles with our investment in Damon's Motorcycles in Canada, and Switch Motorcycles in New Zealand, and Trevor Motorcycles in Belgium. So those are 3 on the motorcycle side. At the same time, we've got out of Austin, Texas, we've got Ristretto bicycles. We've one of the original investments we made was a company called House of Lithium, which is where I came up with the name, out of California. And then we've partnered with Segway, and so we're selling Segway products as well. And they've got everything from bicycles to go-karts to all the different. But we're also looking at things in electric power tools as an example. So we're really looking at a number of different companies within the sector. But really, again, Teva Trucks out of England and Israel is one of the big trucking companies. that we backed. They're the only company that's actually on the road today. So they've got hundreds of thousands of miles. They've got 5 or 6 beta trucks that they're doing deliveries for UPS right now, and so UPS trucks in England that are the only electric ones out in the field today. So there's no question we call it a revolution. The revolution is coming, and we wanted to be at the forefront of it. So it's yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So earlier this year, the federal government announced Canada will ban the sale of fuel-burning new cars and light-duty trucks by 2035 in an effort to reach net zero emissions across the country by 2050. How realistic do you think this is that we will see electric vehicles become the majority of the new purchases by the end of this decade?
So look, I'm a car fanatic. I'm a car guy. My whole family is, and I love the historic cars. There's a whole group of people out there. There's a huge market that love the old 1960s and 70s and 50s muscle cars and things of that nature. But look, that's where the market is going. I believe Lamborghini already came out and announced, I think by 2027, 2028, that their cars are going to be all electric. Now, this is Lamborghini, which is, every little boy had a poster of a Lamborghini when he was 10 or 12 years old on his wall. And all you could think about is V10s and V12s. But, when companies like Lamborghini and Mercedes and Ferrari come out and say, we're going hybrid, we're going electric before 2030, and you're seeing some of the U.S. states have already announced the same. So look, you'll have those special licenses for classic cars and collectors, and you'll be able to take them out 6 times a year or 10 times a year. But I really do believe that we will see that. The only caveat I might say to that is there's still a big push on hydrogen, not on the car side so much, more on the truck side. So I'm not saying that a company, that a British Petroleum or Aramco or somebody might come out with a very clean fuel alternative for automotive, but it's not going to be the combustion engines that we know today of any sort. And so I really do believe you're going to see a complete. I do believe 2030 to 2035. I think that's very realistic.
Okay, good to know. Okay, so Andy, one more thing before I let you go here. Apart
Sure.
from cannabis and EVs, what are the sectors you're focused on right now?
So those are really the areas that we're focused on. Plus, we do have a number of investments private in the wellness space, in organic, in vegan. They're small companies, but they're rapidly growing. Unlike a lot of the ones we've seen out there, they do have sales. Ours are growing at we have a company called True Women that we have an investment in. True Women's gone from, it's an all female run company. It's gone from $1 million of sales to 2 or 3 million of sales. And, with the big orders from out of Canada, thanks to Loblaws and Shoppers Drug Mart and Costco, both Canada and the US, those sales will probably be 7 or 8 million next year. So we're seeing a real uptake in that. So wellness is and other forms of wellness. We made an investment in a company called City Row, which is rowing company that would be Peloton-ish but with great development technology. I didn't know that, and I like to work out, but I didn't know that rowing was a much better workout for you, for your overall core than biking. So those are some of the things that we're working on. And then, we've been in crypto in various forms, since about 2019. And we've had a couple of big successes. We have some in Canada. So we have one in Canada, some in the US, and we're working on a big project, in the space, that will get announced shortly. That I think it's going to capture a lot of attention, globally. The team's been working hard at it. We put together the best of the best in the form of advisors. And we'll be coming out with that announcement, in short order, but it's in the space. And I think it's going to change, have a material impact on, in Canadian finance as well when we announce it.
Awesome. Well, we'll have to have you back on after you announce it so you can give us the update.
It's coming up quick.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Andy. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. We'll be back again tomorrow with more great content, so be sure to hit that notification bell before you go.